Now, this is early transfers, and I just wanted to talk about this because it is an issue which we talk about every season. And I have done a lot of early transfers, and I've done it again this week with Jimenez in for Werner, which we've mentioned already. You look at those dates and times there. I mean, they're all like early hours of the morning, apart from the Jimenez one, and that's 5 to 11. That shows you my habits. If I had one sort of 1:15 there, the first couple I made, Dina and Grealish, yeah. It's bad, isn't it? I shouldn't be doing transfers at that time of night. But the key point here is the swing in funds that I've got out of doing that. And that is like the price rises I've gained and the price drops I've avoided. Those swings, it comes to 0.9. Jimenez in for Werner, Podence in for Saint Maximin, De Bruyne in for Aubameyang, and Grealish in for Pulisic, and Dina in for Vinagre. I'm happy with all those players coming in, but I'm happy that I made them early because I've increase my funds. So I'm up to, my team value's not great though. People who wildcarded have got more. So
mine are 0.3.
Right. Is that your swing?
Just having a look at mine now, yeah.
Right.
0.3, so.
Yeah, and this is what doing early transfers gets you. It is a risk though, and I totally appreciate that. And I know I shouldn't do it, but I just hate leaking money, and that's why I do it. And so far I think I've got away with it. I haven't had an instance yet. Last season it was the Martial one, which I did early. He picked up an injury and I held on to him for 7 weeks, and it probably ruined my season, as we talked about in the summer. I haven't had one of those yet, but who knows? I mean, we could hear tomorrow that Jimenez has got injured in training, God forbid. But
Well, look at people who bought in Gabriel Jesus last week.
Yeah.
Luke's got Richarlison and has already made transfers, so he's sweating on his fitness. I mean, Podence, perfect example again.
Yeah, Podence.
So many people moved for him, didn't they?
Yeah, that's true. And I don't see that as a major problem because he was a 5-5 player, and it wasn't a big signing, and most people have got a defender or someone like Souček, like I've got, to come in. But when it's Jimenez or on that level, when it's De Bruyne, you want to be certain. You don't want to take too many risks. But I just think the market drives me to it, and you managed to resist it more. What is it that? I mean, how do you sleep at night?
not very well. I mean, to be fair, I mean, you've really done a move this week, which has got you 0.2, which was Werner to Jimenez. So that got you 0.2. I didn't even think about doing that, and then I literally logged onto Twitter the next day, and I saw loads of people talk about how they'd done it, and I was like, that didn't even occur to me to do that in the middle of it.
Honestly, it didn't occur to you.
Did not even no. I mean, I didn't really want to sell Werner. I was still thinking, he hasn't scored in this game, but it didn't make me think, he's a definite sell.
I was thinking about that transfer 10 minutes in. Honestly, as soon as I saw him out on the left and how left he was, and
yeah, maybe that's the difference. I like to make my transfers late. I've made my transfers a lot earlier this season than I have done before. I mean, I had to get Vinagre out because I didn't want to lose that 0.1. I did the Aubameyang to KDB switch early because I wanted, I knew KDB was going up. But then my transfer this week was just Ben Davies to Semedo. Okay, Ben Davies might be losing 0.1, but Semedo's not going up, so it wasn't urgent. No, I get it. I completely get it. And I'm looking at people's team values now of 101, 101.5, and I'm thinking, I mean, I know I'm being patient with the wild card. I'm going to have the wild card in a few weeks, but wild card's not exactly much good if I can't afford anyone.
Yeah, and it's interesting. People say, well, it's not team value, it's points. And of course, that's the case. But when I look at it and go, well, if I've got another 0.5 in my team value that you haven't got, you're not going to turn that down, are you? You're not going to go, oh, it's not value, it's points, but I'll pick a team for 99.5 million and you can have the 100 million. You're not going to do that. So it does matter. But I think it matters to me too much, and I worry that. And I'm glad that you do things differently because it'd be interesting to see how it works over the season. I'm okay with how it's gone so far, but I am wary that I am running a risk. And Podence and De Bruyne weren't brilliant transfers, but obviously I look at those two players and think, well, if Podence is playing every week or most weeks, he's still a good long-term investment. And I've stopped losing. I've 0.2 swing, which is good. So even though he didn't turn up, I still think that's all right as long as he's back soon. But we'll see how it goes over the season. It's just fascinating that we're working different strategies.
I think my issue is, and I think it's different. I think it's counter to how a lot of people think, is that they're worried about not getting Calvert-Lewin in because he's going to carry on scoring and be too expensive and all this. Whereas I'm worried that the players I sell are going to start hitting form, and I'm not going to have them, and that's going to annoy me more than if I avoid Calvert-Lewin. And as I think about that just now, because that's just kind of come to me, I think that probably isn't a good way to be thinking, because I should surely just be going for the players who are in form and are likely to score points, not ones who I'm hoping that are hopefully going to hit form. I mean, if I wildcarded this week and I sold Havertz, Martial, and Werner, and they all banned, I would be genuinely devastated. But I'm going to be devastated if they all blank at the weekend anyway. So,
but what have they got to do before you go, I feel good making that then?
The thing with Chelsea is that I want to see them, as I keep saying, I want to see them full strength, and I think that is coming. I think that is going to be the case after the international break, unless Lampard is lying even more. It feels like you and Martial.
Well, this is it. This is what you've got to worry about.
I know,
because Pulisic is fragile, and he's not going to say, "Oh yeah, Pulisic is months away," and I don't think he is, but. You just don't know, do you?
The trouble is that it's Chelsea's games, isn't it? Because I've held them through some quite rough games, and now they've got Palace at home, then Southampton at home, and then they've got United away. So I kind of feel like, I think I said game week 4. So between game week 5 and 6, that to me does seem like a good wildcard week, especially if I've got this team up until then, because then that gives me some good data to assess. It gives me some fixture swings. The only issue is the kind of the price drops. But you never know. Maybe at that point there's going to be some cheaper players in who everyone wants, and price is going to be less of an issue. Because I mean, like Podence, for example, at the start of the season there was no 5.5 decent option apart from St Maximan, who I never wanted, and Armstrong.
Arguably never decent.
But suddenly Podence has created an attractive proposition. And also around game week 6 and 7, Souček's going to be getting some decent fixtures in. So he's 5 million. He opens the doors to some better players. So I don't think it's, I think Andy said it on one of the early scout casts. It's like you can always kind of find a way around it. I know, like, you might not be able to build like the ideal team. I
don't like that though. When I hear people say that, I mean that's like, it's like, yes, there's always alternative players, but if I said to you, right, when you pick your initial squad, I'm going to go in and take 10 players away, but it's all right, there's plenty of others there, you wouldn't go, yeah, all right then, would you? So I don't get that theory that, oh, don't worry about team value because there's always other routes. Well, of course there's other players.
Obviously it's important. I'm not saying, like, don't disregard it at all, but I think you can worry about it. You can worry about it too much. I think there are ways of building a team around you. Like, I can name you some players at the start of the season who we weren't. I mean, Pereira now is a fairly decent option. Trossard at 6 million. You've got Mopé, Antonio 6.5. You've got Adams, who I hadn't considered, but now is looking quite good. You've got Souček. Like, these are suddenly, I didn't think any of these budget options. I thought it was all about the premiums at the start of the season, and now suddenly we've got quite a few enabler type players who can come in. So I am worried when I look at some people's squads and I see what they're building with 1 or 1.5. But it's not the first time I've seen people with high team value and managed to do well in the season. So do I completely need to chuck out my whole strategy of back Chelsea when they've got their full strength team because they spent 200 million and I think Frank can get the best out of them? I think United are going to carry on doing quite well. And I quite like my team in general. Am I going to throw that all away just because I'm worried that I'm going to be 0.4, 0.5 down in a few weeks? You know what I mean? I just don't know if that's the best way. I've never played like that before and done okay. So why?
No, it's fine. It's just really, because obviously, doing this show with you, we're finding differences between our styles, and I think it's really interesting. And certainly, I'm not saying mine's the right approach at all, but I find it interesting that we're going to do this show together, and I'm going one way, perhaps a bit more extreme than you, and we'll see how it works out. Because
I'm basing a lot of my stuff on just stubbornness and fear of my players I'm backing delivering when I haven't got them.
See, stubbornness has been my problem, so I want to avoid that. I'm almost sensitive to it. I'm almost like I don't want to come across as stubborn, so I'm maybe jumping early, and that's a mistake. I mean, the fact is, there's so many mistakes you can make playing this game, right? No one's getting it perfect, are they? We're all making mistakes here, there, and everywhere. They might be subtle, they might be bloody obvious, but I just think the contrasting styles on the show here is quite interesting. So it's good for us. It's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I'd rather listen to you. I think if anyone's
it's very.
I mean, Sage Vlog says as you're being blindsided by Chelsea, and I don't really agree with that. I mean, the West Brom game is such a freak game.
It was, yeah.
Like 3-0 down after 20 minutes. Like that is, I know Chelsea haven't been great, but like no one in a million years would have thought of that. And they recovered it. They got 3 goals and came back and drew that game 3-3 somehow. I know they're not right, but their squad isn't right. They're so unbalanced in their squad. And I just think when he gets those players in, it's gonna completely turn around. And that Southampton game, I just think that's such a good.
I agree with you, but the problem is when they do turn it around, I'll be picking up Havertz for 0.5 less and Werner for 0.5 less than you paid, and that's the trouble.
But I will admit defeat after the Southampton. If the Southampton game comes and goes and they haven't delivered, then I will be like, it will take a big performance in that game for me to keep them. I think if they've got the players back and they don't look right in that game, then they're going away to United. They're out.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I see on Twitter. People going, "You're mad giving up on Werner. He's going to come good." Of course he is. He's going to come good. He's a quality player. It's almost like the people who are holding him feel like, well, he's mine exclusively, and I've got him now, and you won't ever be able to have him. Well, I can. I just get him back and cheaper in a 3 or 4 weeks. So
yeah, that is how I feel.
But some people feel like that, don't they? Yeah, I might be making a mistake, but what's stopping me getting him back in?
I feel like you're a traitor now to Werner.
Yeah, well, maybe
you don't deserve him.
I mean, obviously, going up to Werner is going to be more difficult than going down. So if you've got Vardy going down to Werner in a great position, me less so. But I'm just saying that when people, get angsty about, oh, you've got rid of Werner, you're making a mistake, and there's a bit of that on Twitter. Obviously, I'm realising that now. I'm realising the darker side of Twitter. It's almost like they feel like, well, he's my player, and you'll never be able to get him back now. And it's like, what's going on here? Why do they think they've got exclusive rights to Werner? If they haven't, I'll get him back if I need to. And he'll be cheaper.
You sell Werner for Calvert-Lewin though, and Calvert-Lewin goes up 0.4. You're not going to get Werner back in for Calvert-Lewin, but then do you need to? Because if he carries on doing well,
I don't know. I think with Calvert-Lewin, we're almost half expecting him to hit a dry spell, and when we have signs of that, people will get off him. I think, and also when he does have a dry spell, he's going to drop quickly, like Werner has because of the ownership. So. I don't know. You've got to play the markets cleverly, haven't you? And I'm just saying that I'm just surprised sometimes when I see on Twitter people getting, well, I'm in the Werner camp. Well, I'm not out of the Werner camp permanently. I'm just out of it for now.
You should be.
I should be banned from having. That would make the game very interesting. If you sold a player, you couldn't get him back for 10 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Or for a period of time.
That would suit me well.